Sup guys, Heeking here, bringing you another video regarding some Resident Evil news. As always, remember to like and subscribe please, and yeah, remember to take this with a grain of salt, and let's go into it. So a few days ago, a few weeks ago actually, someone made a post about meeting the actress for Jill Valentine, the one that played Jill in the RE3 remake, I believe. And they asked them a question, so we got a photo of it here. I met the real-life Jill Sandwich, who winked when I asked, will you play Jill again for RE1 Re-REmake? So, yeah, the snoozer, they asked her a question and she winked at them. Now, that doesn't really mean anything, you know. It's like, you know, sometimes these performers have a bit of fun. I've gone to these events, I've asked certain questions like, oh, are you making another game or sequel? And you know, they don't really give you a yes or no. You know, they just give you the bare minimum of, you know, like, I hope I'll come back, or I would love to come back and do a new game, etc, etc. In this case though, she gave a wink to a fan. Okay, there have been some rumors regarding an RE1 re-remake. But here's the thing, it might not even be an RE1 remake. It could just be her, like, maybe hinting that she is going to be coming back in a different game, perhaps. It would have been more interesting to ask if she was going to be in RE9 in order to perhaps try and get some sort of hint or confirmation that, yeah, she is going to be in it. But nothing like that, unfortunately, which is kind of a bit weird. And you've got these fans going to these events and asking these type of questions. Like, no, ask the more important question. That's not really important, is it? But yeah, we've already had a user, Daniel, what's his name? You know, he's usually more involved in film leaks, but he did like a leak saying that an RE1 remake was happening, and then there was another user on Twitter called William something who also said that there was a remake for RE1 happening. So I'm gonna read through that. I commented on his post as well regarding that. But yeah, William R. Agno on Twitter, he said, as far as I understand, what was conveyed to me is that if it is an RE0 remake, but they are, and this was regarding the first leaks. If you can see that this was literally late last year. This was literally confirming, just discussing the remakes of RE0 and Code Veronica that were collaborated by other sources to be happening. But yeah, he says, what was conveyed to me is that it is an RE0 remake, but they are combining RE0 and RE1 into one game, maybe by having the story in RE1 be a DLC for RE0, so it would be RE0 to RE1. So yeah, that was a bit of an off-putting thing for me, like to convey in terms of, oh, they're gonna make RE1 a DLC. That makes no sense. If anything, it makes more sense to do a remake of RE1 again in the RE engine and then do DLC for RE0 instead. So that was a bit weird when I read that, and I even commented on it, and I pretty much said, interesting. Don't think people would like that if RE1 was simply DLC. If anything, RE1 should get an RE engine remake, and RE0 should be made as DLC for RE1 separate ways. Now, that was my thoughts anyway. Any info on when potentially we could get news on RE9 or these other remakes? And he replied, it's the same thing. It will be the full game. RE3 was supposed to be an RE2 DLC. Resident Evil games are short, even with the remakes adding some things. So for me, this is one of those cases where I don't know if this guy is very trustworthy or not, because it just comes across as total BS. Now, yeah, RE3 Remake did feel like it was meant to be DLC for RE2 Remake. It did feel like that, but it technically wasn't, even though it felt like that. And the whole nonsense about, you know, RE games are short, even with remakes adding some things. The RE games, yeah, the original RE games are short, but they're not that short. Do you know what I mean? There's still replay value to them. Like RE1, it is basically on the same length as the original RE2. It's not an RE3 length game, or even an RE0 length game. It's up there with RE2 and even Code Veronica. Like, you are playing two different campaigns, even if those campaigns are very similar, like 90% of the time. But it's a bit weird for someone to come and say this. But yeah, it just kind of made me wonder and curious, is this confirmation? Is this confirmation from the actress herself that she is indeed doing an RE1 remake? And you kind of have to wonder as well, like, what does this mean for the future of the series going forward? You know, what does this mean? So yeah, we got an RE1 remake coming out, confirmed by the supposed actress. It could be nothing. But it makes me wonder what this means going forward. Like, what is the release order for these games gonna technically be? Now, I'm pretty much confident in saying that we're definitely going to get RE9 next year for the 30th anniversary, 2026. And for those people wondering, oh, just because it's the anniversary, it doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure other people have already posted this, but I'm pretty sure that Capcom themselves actually said they had some surprises for Resident Evil for the 30th anniversary. They themselves said that there was something happening, so I think it's pretty much certain that we're getting some big news for the 30th anniversary of the series. So I do think we're getting RE9 next year, 2026. Resident Evil 0, it has potential to get announced, potentially, but I think that's more likely to come out in 2027. And it is going to be developed by the side team that did Re-REmake. Now, this is important as well because I think they're going to be the ones working on the RE1 Re-REmake. They've already worked with the actress for Jill, so, they're just going to bring her over and they're going to work with her again on this new project. And it would make sense because they try and make it more consistent, with the continuity between RE0 and RE1, because in the original series, the continuity was a bit iffy. It didn't really work. So hopefully it's a bit more streamlined and a bit more effective this time around, especially when you got the same people just working on it straight away, Because I think, the main team, after RE9 is going to be focusing on Code Veronica Remake. And once they finish working on that, they're probably going to be working on RE10. And then after RE10, they're going to be working on RE5 Remake. That's how I think this development cycle is going to go. So, RE9 in 2026 for the 30th anniversary. RE9 Gold Edition, which I think is going to happen, for 2027, with a new RE game, which is going to be RE0 Remake by the side team. Okay. 2028, I think, is when we're going to get Code Veronica Remake by the main team. Okay, that's going to come out then. 2029, which is going to be the 20th anniversary of RE5. We're not going to get RE5. No, we're going to get RE1 Re-REmake. That's when we're going to get that game, I think. That's going to be released then. And that's going to be by the side team. Okay, that's going to be by the side team again. So, because I'm pretty certain they're working on 0 and they're going to be working on that instead. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the main team is going to work on RE1 Remake. But if they're working on RE5 or RE10, maybe currently at this point, it just doesn't make sense to me. So it feels more like they'd give the side team RE1 Re-REmake, because I don't feel like they would trust them to do RE5 Remake. Definitely not. And then for 2030, no, this is a big if. I think up to 2029, those are going to be the games. From 2030, I'm not too sure, because you kind of have to wonder how big RE9 is going to be. And if it is a very, very big game, as it's been rumored, then I imagine RE10 is going to be similar as well. It's going to be a pretty big game, and it's most likely going to take longer to come out as well. Or maybe they'll have figured things out with RE9's development that when they start, or already have started working on RE10, it's going to go more smoothly. That's kind of the hope as well. And I do think like 10 is going to be the game where they're going to be using the new RE engine, the RE-Rex engine. I think it's either going to be that or it's going to be the RE1 Re. Because if RE0 and Code Veronica Remakes are already in development, they're 100% using the original RE engine, right? Same with RE9. So I think the RE or the RE-X or the Rex engine is going to be used going forward with either RE10 or RE1 Re-Remake. I think that's what's happening, perhaps. But yeah, 2030, maybe we get RE10 in that year. And then I would expect RE5 Remake to come out in 2032. Because it seems like there's always like a 2-year gap between the main games, So if we're getting RE9 in 2026, we're getting Code Veronica in 2028, then we're going to get RE10 in 2030, and then we're going to get RE5 Remake in 2032. Like, those are the main games developed by the main team. And that's if you don't count RE1. That's if we were to assume that RE1 Re-REmake is being developed by the side team. In which case, RE0 Remake in 2027, RE Re-REmake in 2029. That's how I'm going with. That's the flow I'm going with. That's how I'm thinking this is going to be broken down. How they're going to go along with it. But yeah, we got a good few years of RE to look forward to. Essentially, it's going to be a long few years, but we're going to be getting these releases here and there, I think. That's how they're going to do it. Unless they really, really surprise us on the 5th anniversary and they come out and they're like, hey, we're doing RE9, we're doing RE0 remake and we're doing RE1 remake at the same time, and it's like you're gonna get all of these like that. So it's gonna be like, wait, what the hell? Like we're getting these releases straight up like that? Because you kind of also have to wonder, like an RE1 remake wouldn't be that hard to develop, right? Because surely they would just look at the original remake, take that, and make it in the RE engine or the Rex engine, wherever engine they're going to be using going forward, and they're just going to give it that over-the-shoulder makeover, and then obviously change the script here and there to fit the new continuity of the remake timeline. Like, it wouldn't require a lot of work, surely, right? Like, it would feel like that would be a very simple game to make. At least that's the assumption, like, my assumption anyway. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. What are your thoughts down below? Comment and let me know, guys. But yeah, that's my thoughts anyway. That's my thoughts for what's going to happen. But yeah, it does seem that maybe we are, at least from the actress that it seems that we are going to be getting an RE1 remake. Potentially soon, maybe. I don't know. I'm sticking with my theory that it's going to be a very late release, but we'll see. We'll see soon enough. Because if Capcom is very serious about going big with the 30th anniversary, then surely this will be one of those times they pretty much come out and be like, hey, these are the games we're working on in terms of Resident Evil games, and this is the dates they're going to be releasing in. Maybe I don't know. Like I don't think they've never done that before, but it would be kind of crazy for them to. Because look at Monster Hunter Wilds. They announced that a while ago, and then that came out. And then Onimushu, like they literally announced, I think it was late last year, wasn't it? Like late last year. And that's coming out in 2026, so it's like they're letting us know beforehand that they're already working on it, instead of, oh, here's the game and it's going to come out in a few months. No, here's the game and it's coming out in like a year or two. So it's like, okay, they're sort of going back to that formula maybe. Like, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, guys, that's my thoughts. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and...